Probably be good if I was on stage first. Welcome, everybody, to another Flash Hour on this beautiful Monday. Flash Hours where we go over everything that we got done last week and everything that is in the pipeline for Flash Trade. Let me turn off notifications here real quick just so we don't get that throughout the video. All right, and typically how this goes, I'll pop this up here, is we start out with State of the Trenches so that we can have everybody funnel in, give them a little bit of time. We go over some Solana related news as well as some macro events that might be advantageous to both Flash Trade and some traders out there. Then we get into a Flash overview, as in how is the protocol doing as a whole. Then we move on to what did we get done? And that is Anas's favorite, as well as what is coming. So that's always my favorite segment, as I am very forward looking. If my voice sounds a little bit different today, I apologize. I tried my best to get my vocals back to their original state, but we'll hang in there. We'll get there. We'll get through it. All right. And with that said, I'm going to bring Anas up, move to State of the Trenches. And Zahib's here.
Yep, GM. I think I'm
GM.
joining after 2 weeks now. Was kind of busy with some IRL stuff, but yeah, we are back now.
We are very back, sir. And the charts are back. Actually, you know what? You can't leave ever again.
Yeah.
You left and they nuked. All right. The first thing is just some housekeeping for Flash Trade. Obviously, you've seen some new things on the UI. I just wanted to address. We've got some cool new cards that you could share for socials. Of course, your positions are always there, but we do have this new one that I haven't seen too many people use. So you can actually share a card that's really cool for your revenue. So as you accumulate revenue, you could share that out.
Yep. And it's collected revenue, not just the revenue that you have on your UI. So when you collect, then only then it will just get added up and you'll see the total amount you have earned from the protocol.
Absolutely. And then the other thing that we're going to get into is the FOMC meeting. So Poly Markets has it pretty darn high. I think it's around 90 something percent, for a 25 BIP cut, which would be much needed / much appreciated. Thanks, Feds. I don't know why them call themselves Feds. That's for another discussion. Did you want to get into the AWS outage? I thought that was super interesting. You told me that this morning, and Frost, man, really came through.
Yep. I think it kind of helped us to have an engineer who actually worked on AWS in his previous career. So I think thankful to the team. We didn't see any outages on Flash, although there might be some UI elements that are not working as they should be working because there's some backend data that is stored on AWS. But apart from that, anything that is interacting with blockchain, it works as good as it used to. So yeah.
Got a fallback. Yeah.
All
right. And then we brought Zahib up because he's got a little insider knowledge on Toli's new project, Percolator.
I think it's something he just put out as an experimental thing he's working in his head. So yeah, would love to know what it is actually, because even I didn't see that. So please give us some dumbed down version of what it is.
That's the thing that's trumped everyone since the morning. You wake up on a Monday morning and you see Toli trying to build the DEX himself, and that kind of takes you for a ride for sure. But yeah, all props for Toli. I think what he was trying, in his own words, was to check out Surfpool and how does a new developer coming into the space look at things and how to get Claude to kind of complete a test-driven development program. And I think that is where Toli was getting started. But yeah, quite some good ideas for order book-based perp dexes to take inspiration from. And in general, like that clearly lays out the thought of how you should be approaching a perp dex or an exchange in general, which is dealing with derivatives, which is dealing with margin, and then the intricacies. So that was really nice walkthrough of how you think of building a DEX from first principles. And I think that's a masterclass. Totally always does things which kind of are derived from first principles, and that is what is at display with Percolator. And yeah, technically there are a lot of things. A single state sharded perp DEX is what the idea is, and the overall design kind of takes inspiration from the recent events and how you could build a DEX baked into or built on the L1, not having to have all of those specialized SVM runtimes. You can build a performant DEX if the design is well thought of. That is what it is demonstrating and trying to still run the test. So there's a lot of work to kind of get the idea running, but I'm sure there are a lot of people who could take inspiration from it, including ourselves, for improving what already exists. Because in my opinion, there's hardly a few people out there who know Solana in and out better than Toli does, which is a no-brainer. So yeah, quite some interesting stuff. And yeah, work in progress. A lot of improvements from Surfpool and Light SVM. Orson, shout out to that guy building out Light SVM all by himself. And I think yeah, we'll be seeing a lot more improvements across the board, which are going to help developers build a better pipeline.
Amazing. Yeah, that was definitely all over CT. I saw it last night when I was sick and I could not sleep, trying to get myself well. I my phone was going off like crazy. I kept seeing all the notifications about Toli. So of course, I got to pick up my phone, and that's the first thing I saw was Toli Percolator. So, well, good to know. And like you said, we can pull inspiration from it as well. I mean, that guy's a absolute genius when it comes to this stuff. So MicroStrategy acquires another 168 Bitcoin at 112. This guy does not care where he buys. He just buys.
He just buys. It's his theory that Bitcoin is the only asset that is worth holding. So whatever change he gets, he just keeps buying every day. We don't know if it's going to be a very good deal or very bad deal for the whole of crypto's future, but let's see.
Yeah. I would. I think jury's still out on that one for sure. Legacy Mesh and XAUTO. If you do know what that is gold. So that is live on Solana now, backed by USDT. So basically, bring them back.
Yeah, I accidentally clicked the refresh button, so yeah, we're back.
No worries. So one thing I just wanted to get clear before we went live is that the Legacy Mesh is powered by Layer 0. It links native USDT deployments across multiple major chains. So basically, there's going to be a native version of the gold, and then there will be a non-native that's brought to you by Wormhole. So
the most
that's
interesting
kind of the
thing is
difference.
Both the tokens minted by Tether, which is USDT, and XAUT, both are the biggest on-chain versions of USD and gold. So there is I think it's more than $30 billion. I don't remember. It's actually more than that. Let me check this number real quickly.
No worries.
It's $182 billion worth of dollars, and then there is $2.4 billion worth of gold that is backed by both of these tokens, which is the biggest on-chain versions of these real world assets. So very good to have native mint and burn mechanisms for that, and this would be really helpful for us for what we are building. Actually,
really, really good. But thank goodness.
Really good thing.
Yeah, that's amazing. Reason being is settlement times and everything. I mean, you're not going to have massive price differences, between different exchanges.
Exactly.
all the stuff that goes into exchanges. If you know what I'm talking about. SEC approves the 21 shares Solana spot ETF. Let's go. That finally. And then I know they're, all these guys are between the DATs and everything else. They're firing off all kinds of financial instruments. I mean, it would be, honestly, it really would. It would be hard to go through them all. So just wanted to call out 21 shares. thought that was cool. They're very much so in the Solana space, so wanted to make sure that was added in.
Yeah, spot ETFs are very interesting because they just give you the direct exposure of the underlying asset through a legit custodian who has the specific license. But for DATs, it was a different version where these treasury companies could, hold multiple assets and do multiple things with the underlying. So ETFs are more stripped down and clear versions of investment vehicles for bigger money to come into Solana.
Yeah, and for me, I would much rather see spot ETFs. Those are the most transparent, we'll say.
Yep,
So
exactly.
paper's not being traded back and forth where it doesn't actually belong. Kind of like the gold market. All right, moving on to flash overview. So just wanted to call this out here. Camino borrow and lend incentives. So the incentives are live on Camino now. When you deposit your FLP1 as collateral, obviously you're able to take out USDC.
At 75%, collateralization ratio. And the most interesting
LTV,
thing is you are getting paid to borrow against your FLP as well as getting paid to lend USDC into this pool. So the rewards are fairly distributed, 50% for people who are lending USDC, 50% to people who are borrowing USDC against their FLP. So very, very interesting pool for people who want to take exposure and make their money work more. So
yeah, absolutely. And the cool part is, like you just said, you can even lend out your USDC too with incentives.
Yes.
So that's the key thing there, is that you don't have to borrow. You can lend and then provide some liquidity for everybody else who needs them quick degen plays. Let's see here. And then total volume has risen significantly, actually. Total volume's at 17.7 billion. That's very, very good. And then our total rev distributed is broke 200K, so we're at 208K. And FLP1 is still killing it, even with market turbulence. So I wanted to call that out. All right, what did we get done this week? Lots of good things.
Lots of things on the back end, especially as we said, there was the mechanism for people to burn their beasts and claim FAF, and there was huge amount of FAF logged into that program, and there was not a specific instruction to close the program. So the engineers, they updated the program and recovered the underlying FAF. I think something around 45 million FAF was left in the program. So correct me if I'm wrong. And I think by that ratio, if we were to stay on the number basis, it was 800 million FAF that was up for grabs. So from that, 45 million FAF was left. So the ratio is about 96%. 95% of people did claim their FAF by burning their beasts. So you there?
That's right. 46.2 million is the exact number that we did claw back. And I think 6 months was a good enough window for all of the holders who were paying attention.
Claimed, actually. Everyone claimed, At least everyone I know.
Exactly. And then exactly. And the issue that we had was we need to get off the NFT infrastructure, because all of the major changes with V2 that come in, we can, like, in the most optimistic scenario, we don't want the system to be held back by all of the heavyweight that NFTs do carry. And developers who are listening in, they know how heavy the whole Metaplex indexing systems could be. And that was one of the reasons holding back any improvements to UI that we wanted to make. So now, finally getting that thing off, all of the NFT associated benefits and referrals that were tied back are now moved over, and that opens up for us to finally move in and have the V2 changes go in, merge it all together, and have a rollout plan. So that's obviously the next thing that's followed up what the things that we were getting done this week, and with new features comes the the battle of fighting runtime limitations, we figured out there were a few more things around heap and stack allocations, and with more number of assets being listed on existing pools, we were hitting these new limits as well. Figured out a few solutions, tackled those, and tested them. And people who are trying to kind of migrate FLP3 between FLP and SFLP now also have the thing working, which just kind of encountered these new limits when we had 2Z in. So yeah, good work on getting all of that off on our end, and everything looking good to kind of finally have V2 rollout plan for prod. And with that, I think as we discussed in the earlier slide or right here, that we have listing the Tether XAUT or Tether backed gold.
Yep.
With native liquidity kind of being redeemable, and that kind of opens up to this new meta of pool 2 finally being backed by real world assets. And I think starting with gold is a very good step forward, and
For
that
sure.
is what's bringing the whole new meta of RWAs to be traded at 24 by 5, and eventually someday 24 by 7.
For sure. I think that is also very near. As we see the liquidity growing on chain, I think we will go 24 by 7 most probably in 2 quarters or so. But for now, this quarter will we will surely deliver 24 by 5. So yeah,
That's like
I
a
think
Nas's dream right there.
yeah. And the next thing is, yeah, we have worked on significant remodeling of the all the risk parameters that we have, starting with size based fees that we have. Especially there is one more fee that is volatility based fees, and then there is PNL delay. So there are a lot of risk parameters that have been reworked, and those numbers would be changed this week, and we would be doing follow-up announcements as we bring down those numbers, which is very good for traders who trade on lower frequencies. And I think yeah, it will open doors for a lot more volumes as well, because we would become more and more competitive as we are. And the next thing is, yeah, devnet testing is under works and full force, and we are seeing day in day out new merges to the PR and new deployments. And yeah, the next important thing is we would be listing Meteora, which is going live this week. I think 23rd October is their TGE date, and
Potentially.
followed potentially, yes. And the next thing is Zcash. We would love to list Zcash, and we are under discussion of adding it on pool 1, because it shows relatively good strength, and if it is the leader in privacy coins. So if we talk about leader coins, anything that is like the epitome of those sector, we try to add it in pool 1. So it is a very big change in terms of portfolio management of FLP1. So still discussing actively and trying to understand all things before we do this major addition to FLP1.
Yeah.
And the next thing is, yeah, pool 2 has traded a lot of gold since it has gone live, and we would love to back it with a real token that actually gives you the gold exposure, because it makes it makes the life of LPs much better, because they get the exposure of gold irrespective of the volumes that we get traded on.
Yeah.
So yeah, very very neat addition. Probably we will try to pull this off this week, hopefully, Zoeb, if everyone is on board. So yeah, yeah, I think that is
Well,
it.
as far as the gold exposure, could you just real quick, just because I actually know people do want to know this, they ask in the Discord a lot, so it's something that probably should be gone over, is like, why add it? Why add it to the pool? What's the benefit? You know, what's the pool structured like now? You know, all that stuff.
So yeah, pool 2 has the synthetic structure, where basically every trade, be it long or short, is backed by USDC. So if the underlying assets are going up as an LP, you don't get the exposure to those uh, up only assets, but you just get the exposure of fees and the PNL of that pool. So in order to get
Exactly.
the up only exposure, such as what you get in FLP1 and FLP3, you need to basically add the token that represents that real world assets. So yeah, as we have seen, the fees is relatively very good on these pools. LPs are making good money through fees, but they also need
Sure.
exposure to these assets because these assets are moving quite a lot. So in terms from the risk perspective, it makes a lot of sense to back them with the real assets. So
Yeah.
that is the direction we
Absolutely.
will go with it.
And I
Yes.
think the recent data also kind of correlates with it. The pool's been doing just fine, but the performance has taken a hit because people do take winning trades, especially the kind of run up gold and silver has had. It's been crazy, and yeah, we've had positions being held
Even
over.
Sir, even with that crazy move, which is like 50%
Yeah, it's a
on
lot.
on a year-to-day basis, we didn't even lose 10% on the pool.
Yeah,
It
100.
was
did very
just
well.
6%. So that is
Yeah,
huge
yeah,
for me.
and
That is, yeah,
Capital efficiency.
absolutely a great win, capital efficiency win for sure. And just imagine if the same thing was being held on the pool. If you had gold
oh my God.
instead of having lost money, there's so much room for the LPs to earn yield from, and that is
Yep.
what I think is finally coming to light. We've been discussing this with few people in the ecosystem, and I think that is the best way forward. RWAs or synthetic RWAs are great. Yeah, you can trade assets, but as an LP, having the underlying token is always a big plus. So even
For sure.
for gold and silver, for instance, we can work out cross correlation because you obviously don't have great options for tokenized silver at this point. But that's what the whole effort
We will
is.
have it soon. We will have it soon.
I bet we
Absolutely.
will. Yeah.
Yeah, and for us is to pave the way. Like we kind of show that the demonstrate the demand in the markets, and have all of these players kind of finally put in the effort to get it done.
For sure.
We just need the
All right.
liquidity, man. Just the liquidity.
Yep.
It's all coming on chain, so it's just a matter of time. All right. And what's coming? This is actually my favorite section. What's coming is 24/5 stocks, major indices, and metals, as we were just discussing, and also too more assets. So obviously crypto native assets, things like that. So, but one of the things I am most excited about is stocks and indices, since that is definitely a huge interest of mine. What do we have
Yep.
in the pipeline for that?
Yeah, as we said, we with V2 rollout and the FLU mechanism, it will open up doors to list better collateralized markets over the existing tokens that we have. So imagine, and as we said, we don't have silver on chain, but if we were able to, if with flu we can use gold as collateral to longs and short silver, so that opens up a good balanced exposure, as well as with the systematic funding rate, it also balances the OI, which makes the exposure delta neutral for LPs and get that fees as well as the exposure on the upside as the markets move towards higher and higher. So it makes a very very neat implementation for LPs as well as traders. So that is coming very soon. Apart
Yep.
from that, the trigger orders is under works. I just checked the testing link. It is a very neat implementation. It's only desktop version where you can basically trade everything through the chart itself. You don't need the trade panel. You can just click on chart and just open and close position, add your trigger orders, stop loss, take profit, limit orders. It's very smooth experience. So that is under testing. I think it would be going live this week. Very sure about it. Yeah, there was a very interesting proposal put up in Flash Labs from one of our community members about competition with the FAF tokens that we just got from the unclaimed Beast rewards.
Yep.
So I'm still going through that proposal, and I'll have some comments by the end of the day. But yeah, it's an interesting proposal. We need some more competitions happening. I can understand, and we will look forward to having those competitions on Flash as well, which basically incentivizes traders to go head on head and make some more money for them. And
Absolutely.
yeah, Any thoughts? I was not on the last call, but yeah, anything to add on the V2 stuff that you've been working on?
Yeah, we let out a ton of alpha on the last call, so maybe that's why I was trying to pull back, because I'm like, I think last call was just alpha galore. So
Yeah, for sure. And all of the efforts to the week is being put into kind of building out the rollout plan, and have each feature kind of tested incrementally, and then having backwards compatibility. So that's where the majority of our current efforts are being put into. But otherwise, over the last call, I think more focus was on learnings on how ADL versus socialized loss mechanisms work, what we do is going to include. And I think the best way to kind of see that is when we finally roll out, update the docs. The docs always kind of are top notch, thanks to the janitor right here. So that is where the whole focus has been. And I think people have got a lot of learnings by seeing it all play out real time. And yeah, one of a kind opportunity in the space to learn from. Um, it kind of just exposes the flaws or known issues with different margining systems,
yeah,
and special masterclass in ADL for everyone, and a lot of good content out there. So we do kind of encompassing all of the good features between ADL and socialized loss, because all LPs are going to be exposed to the unrealized PNL from positions. So there have been a lot of discussions, deliberations, and reviews focused entirely on getting the best of both worlds between the two systems, and offer a fair trade for traders, and have the right risk management protocols in place for LPs. That's pretty much it for what efforts we've done to kind of review all of the future changes with V2. And I think that is where that is what makes us confident of the rollout, even if the same market situation is to reoccur. We are ready to kind of brace through it, and that's where we do kind of stands out.
yes, it sure does. And just to remind everybody, is this? I mean, it kind of has our old. Let's see, our old logo on there. No, it doesn't. Just to remind everybody, I was just gonna pull this guy up. There you go. Share screen. There we go. Let's see. Remove from stage. There we go. Just the quickly go through some of these as far as like the margin engine V2, just to give somebody like a better scope. Anas, if you wanted to take it, or Zahib, I wasn't sure. When you say 200 plus, what does that mean? What does that? I mean, we basically can list across the design that you made 200 plus assets. When people see that, they almost the first question they ask me is like, well, what does that mean? Like, what assets, what pools, all that good stuff. What does Margin Engine V2 allow us to do from like a technical standpoint?
Yeah, with the new flexible lock utilization mechanism, which we call flu, it yeah it basically allows you to list more assets with different underlying. So imagine trading SWI with using sole collateral, and then there are risk parameters that basically check the open interest, and then if it is more skewed, there is a funding mechanism in place which basically makes more people to take the opposite side. And once the correlation between the assets are when they differentiate over time, that's when the ADL kicks in. So it's a very, very interesting complex mechanism to make sure we are capable of handling listing more assets without doing the synthetic way of it, and having collateralization with assets that are real and are correlated. So I know there are like, right now if we check, there are like at least 300 plus crypto assets that are worth listing. And then I think there are more than 500 assets which are in the real world which are also worth listing. So this is like a step in direction of making that happen, which is like 200 plus, which is a theoretical limit right now. And with the interesting merge of having our programs run on an ER, which will have bigger limits if we go through that route where we try to break the constraints that are on the mainnet and just be fully ER compliant. Then I think we can go 1,000+ assets. Correct me if I'm wrong, Zohib.
Uh, I mean, that's right. Like one thing
Yeah.
is obvious runtime limits, which we need to get over. Which is why the reason 200 is shown is that all right, we have 4 pools. 50 assets per pool kind of makes it closer to that number, which is a limit, which we are forced to kind of stay within the runtime constraints. Which is why this is the number we've put. Like it could have been any arbitrary number, but yeah,
Sure.
200 because you can't exceed 64 accounts for atomic stuff.
Mhm.
So considering all of that, I think the idea with V2 is always been this cross collateralization, and the way it benefits LPs, for instance, could also be on the RWA side. You don't want to have fragmented liquidity for Tesla, Apple, Nvidia, and all of those stocks. You could just have SPY, the tokenized version, collateralizing all of your trades against stocks, and that could just be a way for LPs, to finally have exposure to the asset basket while kind of powering trades on a variety of assets. And that is where the powerful improvisations with V2 come to light. We can support that even now. For instance, like you could just have all of the stocks listed on the pool, and then collateralize each stock by its tokenized version, and it gets complicated even for LPs, like trying to find the right exposure. But instead, if you have unified assets like SPY as a tokenized version available to kind of offer you the exposure while
Yeah.
collateralizing all of the trades on RWA, especially on the equity side, it kind of that's the idea that V2 powers, and getting it out with with the same amount of risk assumptions that we have on the platform right now has been our focus. LPs kind of face no difference. They are either going to be better off than what we are right now, or it'll be a justice system which allows them to have this additional exposure. But for traders, there's going to be a world of a difference because they
Yeah.
have a lot more optionality. They can trade a lot more markets, and then they've just got a better form of margining system than what we have currently.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the main thing I wanted to get to is the LPs. Obviously, traders are going to benefit, because they have more assets to trade. If you love trading, that's always a huge plus. But I'm glad you touched on the LP.
Yep. And to top it off, the interesting thing is this is all built by us, and this is a new ground that we are breaking. It's not something that you see like out there in the world where people
Facts.
are just using this main system of Binance, the margining and the order book, and then trying to replicate on an L2 and co-locating it and showing those numbers that are very fast, where we can just show there is basically no latency, 0 millisecond thing. So this is like creative building and creative engineering at its core. And we really love to break new grounds because that's how DeFi grows. And that's what I've been saying. Like, if you check the top 10 DeFi protocols by TVL, you would see the DeFi native, programs or innovations are the ones that have the most TVL. So not the protocols that just bluntly copied instruments of traditional finance and just made it, build it on a blockchain.
Yeah.
So I also personally believe that DeFi native innovation actually is the core thing that grows our industry, because whatever we have seen in traditional finance, it is done and dusted. We know what the end game of their mechanisms are, but for DeFi, you don't know the end game, and we are trying to push those boundaries much beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the one of the things that I was going to touch on, but give me a wink, wink, or a nudge, nudge, or a don't touch on it, is something that was discussed in Mumbai. We discussed it last week. We can obviously forego talking about it this week if we do not want to. But you had a good conversation in Mumbai with a
Yep.
specific team. I was curious, just because everybody does want to know a little bit more about it. It is something that's in the works, so it's not set in
For sure.
stone. It's a what
Yeah,
did we say earlier? As possibility.
No, it's actually right now set in stone. The flights have been
Nice.
booked. The workspace has been booked. So yeah, both the teams, Flash and Magic Blocks, are meeting at one point in Dubai and working from the same space to basically ship the fastest version of a decentralized exchange possible. And I am very, very optimistic about the outcomes, and we are yet to see what comes out of this very interesting meeting, basically co-working between both of the engineering teams. And yeah, it is going to be very, very interesting. And I'm sure if this all works out, we will have a very, very interesting announcement at the breakpoint.
Yes.
Absolutely
we
excited
will.
for it. And yeah, totally not stressed. Yeah, but that's crazy stuff. A lot of things and a lot of ideas that we want to nail down. And
Of
huge
course.
shout out to the great engineers at Magic Blocks for taking the lead on infra. We as product builders, I mean, that is one of our major concerns. Building the infra, and I think that's going to take a toll. If product engineers come back and want to build the infra, it's going to take a hit. The product's not going to be what it is. So I think that is a great way forward for us to have these engineering insights from people who are building the infra. Not recently. They've been in the ecosystem
Yeah.
alongside us for 3 years
Yes.
or more. Like for people who may not have context, and that's just the way things work out. It took them so long, and it took us long enough as well to come to the place where we are. And I think those insights are going to be
Very
a
fruitful.
major differentiator. Yeah, that's what is going to set us apart from other people building in the space. And I think operational experience from both teams is a lot more valuable.
Yes,
Yeah.
and IRL meeting and working from the same space is, like the experience, you can never match it when you're working,
So true.
from different places. So putting all the engineers under one roof, making a sweatshop actually makes a lot of sense. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
Making a sweatshop. We're locking them in. We have a 24/7 camera. It's going to be like a whole show. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It's if you've ever been in person, there's no differentiator. You literally cannot replicate that unless you're in IRL. So that'll
Yep.
be a time to remember for sure. And what do we got next? We have trade wars. So if you'd like to have a little bit of fun with the Flash Trade platform, we do have Trade Wars tomorrow, same exact time as Flash Hour, keeping it very simple, with yours truly and two special guests that will attend, and they will take on the gauntlet. Can they dethrone the current leader who has, I believe it was $53 up? I believe you can. You out there, I'm looking at you. You can do it. Jump into Discord. Reach out to me if you'd like to be part of Trade Wars fun and shenanigans that we have. I really love it. Basically, the TLDR is we give you $100 in a funded wallet. If you make money, you make money. If you lose money, we lose money. It's that simple. You've got 15 minutes on the clock on DGen mode to trade BTC, ETH, and Solana. It is a lot of fun. So if you'd like to either view or participate, jump into our Discord and reach out to me. Would love to put you on the docket for one of the next trade wars. So anything
For
else
sure.
from you, gentlemen?
Nope. I think that is pretty much it for now.
Awesome.
If anyone has any questions, we are here. We are in Discord. We are in Telegram. We are on Twitter. So yeah.
By the way, Andre, I appreciate you so much from Turbine. We
For
do
sure.
love Turbine here. I love Andre. He was actually my first teacher in the Solana
Oh
space.
wow.
Yeah, he was. I was part of his little cohort there for a little bit before joining Flash Trade. So that was a lot of fun. And GM to you, sir. But
Very
other than
interesting.
that, I don't see any other comments and or questions. But each time we do have Flash Hour, we'd love to see any questions, comments, or any concerns or anything else that you'd have. We will answer them live for you with the co-founders present to make it as awkward as humanly possible. And with that said, I'm just going to do an outro and say goodbye to you gentlemen. We'll jump into right after this. If you guys didn't know, we have our little daily stand-up. So I'll see you guys there. All right, everybody, all 156 beautiful of you watching. Really appreciate you watching. I wanted to upload this really quick. Let's see. Download. Go to downloads. Let's see. I'm going to leave you with a really fun and interesting, one of my proudest videos, I should say. Let's see if I can get it uploaded here while I'm stalling for the outro. Let's see. We're going to upload this super cool and fun video. There it is. Is this it? You better be it. Yes, this is it. All right, I'm going to leave you with one of my most proudest videos yet. It is a sneak peek into what will happen with magic blocks. I put it together not too long ago. I think over the weekend while I was a little bit sick. We went through Flash Hour and I put together a really epic video for you all. You can also check it out on X. It did get quite a bit of traction, but I'll try to link it down below as well. Again, stalling for the video to upload. But hey, thank you so much for attending Flash Hour. Don't forget we have Flash Trade tomorrow, or Trade Wars, sorry. Trade Wars tomorrow. I'm in a really funny suit that everybody enjoys, and I am the MC, basically, more or less. It is a lot of fun. We typically go on the 1 minute and just degen it out with degen mode 125x to 500x. Lots of fun tomorrow. Because of the FOMC meeting, we're going to see a ton of volatility. So that will be it'll probably be one of the most interesting, I would say, because I know with those fast wicks and the can definitely catch you off guard. You know, you see those massive candles up and or down. So we'll see who comes out on top tomorrow. Maybe they'll take the throne. I don't know. But we'll catch you guys, or I will catch you guys tomorrow. Tune in. I very much so appreciate it. Trade Wars, 4 p.m. UTC. Be there. 160 of you now. This would be groundbreaking.
Magic blocks, obviously.
This will literally feel like a sex.
Just last Monday was Apex teams that happened to be there. Magic blocks, obviously. Retaining all liquidity, retaining all of our current integrations while moving trades and pricing engine to the ephemeral rollup. Beta for people to try out. You're not creating parallel SVM, more or less like a specialized runtime environment. Maximize gains from mainnet itself.
So that we get all the benefits of mainnet. So as mainnet improves, so will our solution, right, with magic blocks will. The goal is to get as close as possible to the sex feel that everybody loves. Not quite sure that people understand the gravity of that kind of integration. Mic drop. Take it away.